Okay, good day, welcome back. Today I'm doing the next video in my series on World Chess Championship blunders. Last time we saw Alekhine defeat Capablanca, that was 1927, to become the new World Chess Champion. In 1929, both Capablanca and Bogoljubov put their hand up to play Alekhine in a championship match. Alekhine kind of ducked Capablanca, that's one way of looking at it, and played a match against Bogoljubov. Now, Bogoljubov had been doing quite well in tournaments, so there was some justification for the match. But as we know from hindsight, there would be two Alekhine-Bogoljubov matches, and they were both mismatches. Now, one good thing about that is recently in my videos, there has been quite a high standard of play by, Lasker and Schlechter, Capablanca, and even Alekhine in 1927. So we haven't seen too many of those really classic big blunders. That's no longer the case. We've got plenty to look at this time around. So I've actually had to skip some blunders, which would definitely have been in the videos on previous matches. So without further ado, let me just switch across to my game screen, and we're going to have a quick look at the charts there. The first one, top right, as always, is the match score. Now you can see that Alekhine is the two red lines way up the top. According to Wikipedia, it was either the first to 6 wins or 15 points. Now, if you look at that, after 25 games, Alekhine got to 15 points, so the match was over at that stage. Although, if you look at the gap he had on Bogoljubov, it was over quite some time before then. Now, we're going to look at a number of games today. First of all, game 2 has a pretty big blunder in it, actually a 500-point blunder. A little bit confusing, so I've actually skipped game 2, and the first game we're going to look at is game 3. And let's move to the critical move in game 3, which is move 48 by black. This is it's a blunder. It's quite a subtle blunder in some ways, but because it's a very interesting same colored bishop endgame, I thought it would be worth having a look at what's going on here. Now this is the position. This is actually where the blunder occurred, and you can see that the black king is in a good position. It's on the 7th rank, stopping the white king from advancing, and this position, according to Stockfish, is a draw. Black can hold off white. White can't penetrate into the king side. However, with that next move, king d8, that is exactly what happens. So let's just go through the game continuation, because this is not the blunder I'm actually going to score, by the way. So king d8, white takes advantage of that, gets onto the 6th rank, and now it's looking pretty curtains for black, because although black can try and hold off the penetration of the white king, he can't do it. His bishop as well is pretty poorly placed and can be driven from key diagonals. Now the white king just wants to get to either the f6 square or the f5 square, and then we'll be able to take the g5 pawn, and that'll be the end, right? So black king e7 tries to hold it. Bishop f5 by white, trying to drive the bishop from that diagonal. Bishop f7, bishop d3, keeping hold of that diagonal. Bishop e6, holding the bishop, holding the f5 square for now. Can you see the maneuvering? Actually, black gave up and decided to surrender the f5 square early by counter-attacking the pawn on g2. Okay, now this is where the blunder we're going to talk about happened. The sensible continuation for black is simply to just try to take the pawn, then black will take the g2 pawn, and then the next step for white is to move back to g4, hold both his pawns, and then he can use the bishop to cover and protect the pawns as required, and he will end up 2 pawns up, and that would be a clearly winning position. So that's the clearly winning position, but Alekhine did not play that. He played bishop to h5, which is just shocking, because now what happens is that from a position where he's going to be 2 clear pawns up and easily winning, black grabs the g2 pawn, and to hold his pawns, white actually drops his bishop back to g4, and then now you see the continuation. Black's holding on to one of those pawns, and it's not enough of an advantage. In fact, you see this continuation. Both pawns are running queen at the same time to draw, right? So that was, the game went on for quite some time, but that was just a very, very poor play by Alekhine. Threw away a win. So let's have a look at the next game we're going to look at, game 7. This is by Bogoljubov. Let me bring the game up. As usual, I have to bring it up in GUI, and then I always like redoing this chart. Now, okay, you can look what's going on here in the bottom right chart. The game was fairly even until the 20th move, and Bogoljubov blundered, and this is a pretty poor blunder. Let's have a look at it. We go to the key position before the blunder. f6. So white has just played f6. White is attacking. White, but there's nothing for black to panic about. White is 1 pawn down, and black's king is a little bit open. But black also has an active queen and a rook and so on, quite active. And the next move is just inexplicable. Throws away 3 points. Not really a tactical puzzle here, because it's just rook takes e3. Grab the bishop. There's a problem with that. You can have a quick look if you like, but this is not even a tactical problem in that sense. Simply queen g5. Now we are threatening mate, so black has to protect that. And I mean, there's 2 ways of proceeding here. Either black could take the f6 pawn with the pawn, or what he did do doesn't really help things. Rook takes g3 check, queen takes g3, e takes f6, and the position's kind of stabilized. It's +3. It's not just that black gave up his active rook for a piece, and now his pawn structure is shattered, and we'll just continue with the game. I think white is just going to invade. Picks up loose pawns, drives the queen off. I don't want to go through this too closely because there's another pawn dropped. Now we're going to threaten mate on the long diagonal. Has to exchange queens, and now it's just another pawn's gone. And that was the final move of the game. If he takes back with the rook, then I believe it's to check on the back rank. That's not going to end too well. So that was a really, if you get back to key position, that was really poor. That rook takes e3. It's a very poor move. Okay, so that one will get a good ranking on my tier list. Okay, so let's move forward to game 10. So this is a situation where game was pretty even, although if you look at this towards the after move 40, Bogoljubov seems to be losing the plot a little bit, and then plays a really bad move. So let's have a look at that. Okay, here's the position. What Bogoljubov did led to a forced mate. Actually, there's quite a nice mating pattern in here. So let's have a look at what went on. White played rook takes f7. Obviously, some threats there. Maybe the queen will slide across. This is quite an interesting puzzle position, actually. You should pause the video, have a look, and see. This is a forced win now. Maybe see if you can do the analysis through to the end. So I think the first move is fairly straightforward. By the way, so this has gone from -1 to -7 in one move, right? First move is fairly straightforward. Check on e4. King cannot go to the back rank, obviously, and the pawn, f3 pawn, f2 pawn cannot advance, so king has to go to h3, which is not very pretty. And then maybe this is the move which Bogoljubov missed. This rook d5 is the trick. I mean, it's switching back, and it's a killer move, right? Because the queen is stopping the king from dropping back. So white will have to, interpose somehow. He did with the rook. He could have interposed with pawn, or cover that square somehow, which doesn't look particularly easy. So the continuation, I guess the most logical, rook a4. I mean, it's over now because he's missed it. And there's a couple of ways to continue here. This way works really well. Rook h5 check. Now, there's, should you interpose the rook or should you advance the king? Doesn't make a lot of difference. We get a very nice mating pattern in the end, right? So I think it's nice to go with the game continuation. King g4. And now this is the, I mean, there are various ways to win, but this is a nice way, sort of checking on e2. So it's the king's got nowhere to go. All these squares are covered. All those squares are covered. Has to interpose something. f3 pawn. Okay, that's fine. And rook g5 check. If you go to h4 for that, then that is checkmate already. So Bogo went to h3, but now there's another check. Once again, the queen's invaded from behind. Only one square to go to. And now the game actually finished here, but there's a very nice mating pattern, which I mentioned. I thought it's quite nice. This continuation is mate in 3, see if you can get it. But it's rook check there, sacrificing the rook, that's cool. Queen to h3 check, must interpose, no squares to go to. And then now it's queen to f5 check. It's very neat. The white rook is blocking the king in. So that was a pretty big error by Bogoljubov. As I said, look at the bottom right chart. He was hanging on for a draw, and he's probably missed that rook d5 cutback, which was really a nice move, which ended the game instantly. Now we're going to look at game 13 very quickly. So I won't bring up the chart, I'll just bring the game and we just have a look at it as a quick tactical study. Save that. Okay, there's the game, and the position I want to look at is just before, let me look, what move is it? Right here. Black's on top already, which is why I don't really, Bogoljubov's already a couple of points up according to Stockfish. So the next move is a terrible blunder. Just play the move. Bishop takes h4. Tactical study for you guys. That's the only reason I want to show this one. Spend a few minutes looking at it. Something terrible about that move. Basically loses the piece, and the reason is we have another one of these. Black actually did just move his recapture the rook, and white obviously thought rook's not protecting the pawn anymore. Great. And the killer move is queen e4. We've got the back rank problems again. The rook cannot take the queen, obviously, and the rook must move and the bishop will drop. So that they just lost a piece very quickly. Okay, so we'll now go to the last game we're going to look at today. Now, look at the score, eval score, bottom right. You can see there's been a few errors in this. That Alekhine is white, Alekhine was winning, Alekhine was the first guy to blunder, and then Bogoljubov blundered, and Alekhine blundered again. So it actually was heading for a draw. And I think this blunder, very late in the piece, what does it say? Move 70 by black. Would you believe it? Now this position is a draw. One move draws, all other moves lose. Now, we'll just do the game continuation, king g4. Shockingly bad move. We'll come back to king e4. King e4 is the move you should be doing, and it's all about shouldering the opposing king in an endgame, in a rook endgame. But we'll see later on, we'll see the difference between being on g4 and on e4, because on e4 the white king would not be able to get back as quickly, right? So let's just go with king g4, see what happens. Has to sacrifice, and the king just marches across, and the pawn's lost. Pawn's lost, right? So let's have a bit of a look at what would have happened if had played king e4. In fact, it's not giving the same continuation for white, but let's say white just continued to advance. I'll add variation. Black will advance, white will advance, queen, take it, and you can see the difference. This is a draw because the white maybe will check somewhere, no matter where. You can do it e5 or e3, both of them work. e5 keeps the white king at bay, and e3 just continues to advance the pawn, and the white king won't get back far enough. So that was a very bad endgame blunder by Bogoljubov. You'd expect better, and it's the natural thing to do. Actually, shouldering the white king was the natural thing to do. So that was pretty bad. So what we'll do now is, having looked at the games, I will now go to the Excel sheet. Here we go. Now what I've done, so it's not quite fitting on the screen at the moment. I'll sort something out with that before my next video. You can see that we've added this king g4. This is king g4 by Bogoljubov, missed shouldering his bishop h5 by Alekhine. So that was his throwing away the endgame by not just grabbing the g5 pawn. And then we've got a couple of other ones which I believe are just unfortunately gone off the screen. Here's the rook takes f7 where Bogoljubov missed the cutback, and bishop takes a4. There's just that very simple error, just a little bit off screen. That's unfortunate. So still Chigorin's bishop b4 reigns supreme. We haven't got a 5-star yet. They'll be coming along soon enough. Don't worry about that. And those couple of errors, as I say, there's a lot of juicy errors in this World Championship match, a lot more than those we had before. So that's all good. Right. So there is a rematch we'll go over. So the next World Championship match is Alekhine Bogoljubov again. So plenty of blunders to look at there as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching.